All right, we're going to do a little congregational participation at the beginning here. And so Nick's going to get even our Zoom congregation on the screen in the sanctuary. So if you're willing to turn on your camera on Zoom, go ahead and do that. We might even let you, might even ask you a question and see if you want to answer it. So here's my question to start us off for anybody. Who's playing Wordle? Raise your hand. Okay. Wordle on the call here. All right, got some Wordle folks. Okay, Lisa and Deb, great. All right, so for those of you who don't know what Wordle is, who aren't playing it yet, it's an online word game. There's only one puzzle a day, similar to maybe the New York Times crossword puzzle, but it's much simpler than the crossword puzzle. It's something a lot of other people can do. You just guess a 5-letter word, and you get 6 chances to guess it. And after you make your first random guess of any 5-letter word, it tells you, you get a green highlight of a letter that's a correct letter in the correct location in the word, the right word. You get a yellow highlight of letters that are in the word that you're trying to get to, but are in the wrong position in the word. And then you get to take a second guess, and you get more highlights and more clues, and a third guess, and so on, till you get it right. Now, in November of 2001, there were 90 people worldwide playing Wordle. January 1st of this year, there were 300,000 people playing it, and 1 week later, there were 2 million people playing it. One of the reasons that it's spread virally is you can share your results on social media, Facebook or Twitter, without spoiling what the answer to the puzzle is, because everybody's getting the same word. Everybody's got the same puzzle. Everybody's trying to guess the same word. And the way they do that is you get to share your little yellow and green squares. And so people share their little grids, and you can kind of see how many turns it took them and how much progress they made as they guessed it. Okay, so I'm just wondering, let's start with folks on Zoom, if you want to unmute yourself and answer this question. What do you like about Wordle? Why are you playing Wordle? What do you enjoy about it? I think Lisa or Deb or anybody else who's playing. What do you like about it?
I like that you can share it and that it's kind of a brain tease. It makes your brain work.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Deb. Lisa, what do you think? What are you playing? Why are you playing Wordle?
In part, I had to check out what everybody else was doing, and that it's one a day, so I can't get sucked into doing 25. So
Yes, it's not a huge time suck in that way. Anybody else online? Any others in the sanctuary? What are you playing, and what are you liking about it?
So I'm in touch with them every morning.
Wonderful. Yes, exactly. So it's not just Facebook, and you can just text it to any group that you want. In my family, we all play, and so we all compare notes about how many guesses we took to get the word and things like that. Anybody else? All right, thank you folks online. Nick, you can put me back on the camera. I'll tell you what I like about it. I'm not very good at word games, and I like that it's manageable. That I can usually get it in 6 tries. I see a lot of people who get it in 3 or 4. I very rarely get it in 3. Usually 4, 5, or 6 is my best. I think I got it in 2 once, and that was just luck. But I'm not so great at word games, and in Wordle, there's a feature that allows you to not guess a non-English word. And so if you come up with, I'm stuck, and I just put in a word, I'm like, I don't even know if this is a word, but I can't think of anything else that would match the clues. And if it's not a word, it lets you try again. It just says, that's not a word, dummy. You get to try again. And so I like that it's forgiving, and it's graceful, and it's like it wants you to succeed. And so that's one of the reasons I enjoy it. Unlike Scrabble, which is unforgiving if you're playing with serious people. In Scrabble, if you put in a word that's not an English word, you might get challenged. And if you get challenged, they'll say, you have to look it up. And they get out a dictionary and look up to see if the word's a real word. And if it's not, you lose your turn. Scrabble is mean and unforgiving, and it doesn't want you to succeed. I played Scrabble when I was, Sasha and I, when we were married early on, and I was in seminary, we went to visit my brother. We didn't have a lot to do. None of us had any money. He was single. We were just married. And so we would do things during the day, and then we'd play Scrabble in the evenings, the three of us. And I really felt like I was just there to help them win. That's all I really did. There was no chance I was ever going to win Scrabble. I mean, they would come up with these amazing words, and I would be like, boat, test. And then you always wanted to come after me in Scrabble, because I'd like set you up for a triple word score or something, because I just didn't know. So they even had a mean name for me. I'm not going to say what it is in church, but I still enjoyed it. It was still fun. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's why we're talking about all this today. I think Scrabble is like the Pharisees. Mean, unforgiving, always wanting you to go to the book and look it up to make sure your answer is right, and if it's not in the book, it's not right. Wordle is like Jesus. Graceful, forgiving, wanting you to succeed and try again. Jesus is the Wordle of God. In the beginning was the Wordle? In the Wordle? Okay. So in our story today, we're getting this dynamic that we hear quite a lot in the Gospels of the Pharisees challenging Jesus, saying, Christ can't do this. Christ can't be from Galilee. Look it up. Christ can't do the things that this man Jesus is doing. Look it up. It's in the scriptures. We know what Christ can do and Christ can't do, and Christ can't be this man. Christ can't do these things. And yet, we know, the early Christians knew, that in fact Christ can. And it's not so much what's in the book as what's in our hearts and what we experience in the world and in our lives, that Christ can do unexpected things. Christ can rise from the dead. Christ can go to the cross. Christ can be found in unexpected people. It's not that Christ can't because it's in the book. It's that Christ can because he was on the cross and he rose from the dead. And so I wrote a poem about that, and I'm going to read you the poem, and then the sermon's going to be over. Look it up. It's in the book, black and white, plain as day. So we say, and so it is. Look it up. It's in the book. Christ can't. Christ can't be from Galilee. Christ can't heal on the Sabbath. Christ can't share a meal with sinners. Christ can't touch the unclean. It's in the book. Look it up. Christ can't. We, the powerful and the privileged, say it's so. We, the educated, already know it's in the book. Look it up. Don't understand the book. Trust us. The book says, we say what the book says. We say the book says Christ can't. Christ can't be the son of a carpenter. Christ can't be poor. Christ can't be uneducated. Christ can't come in peace. Look it up. But who is this Christ who can't? Who is this Christ you've bound so tightly in your book? Who is this Christ who bends to your will, who you define, who you control? Open your eyes and see, Christ is not found in a book. Christ was never in the book. Not black and white, not plain as day, not who you say, so you say. So don't look it up. Instead, look up. Look up and see. Look up not to the hills or the horizon or the heavens. Look up not to your own exalted self-image. Who could even see that high? Look up instead to the place you fear to look. Look up to powerlessness. Look up to pain. Look up to grief and strife, sorrow and shame. Don't look it up in a book. Look up up to the cross. Look up to Christ crucified. There on the cross we see, all of us see together, plain as day, clear as crystal. We all can see, the peasants and the lords, the uneducated and the illuminated, the black and white and brown and brilliant, the gay and straight and transsexual and transfigured, plain as day. Look up and see Christ can. Christ can suffer. Christ can bleed. Christ can scream. Christ can doubt and Christ can dream. Christ can die and Christ can rise. Look up and see Christ can. Not the Christ of the book, but Christ unbound. Not the Christ of the words, but the Christ of the world. Not the Christ who saves from pain, but the Christ who invites us into pain, who walks with us through the pain, who rises with us beyond the pain. Not the Christ who defends our pride, but the Christ who convicts our privilege. This Christ can. This grizzled and grieving, salty and suffering, dirty and dying, loose and living, wooing death and winning life, this Christ can. Christ can spring waters in the desert. Christ can spring waters in our hearts. Christ can make water live. Christ can turn it into wine. Pop the cork of your callous creeds, splash the wine of wonder from every broken heart into every empty glass. Christ can turn mourning into dancing, suffering into celebration, requiem into resurrection, crucifixion into creation. Don't look up this Christ in a book. Look up. Look up to every cross. Look up and see. See every broken heart, every lost child, every beaten being, every slaughtered creature. Look up and see a Christ who can. Look up and see Christ crucified and recreated. Look up and see Christ beaten and unbound, loose in the world, resisting every power and principality, exposing every evil, defeating every death. Never again be told, look it up, Christ can't. Instead, look up to the cross, to every rebirth and renewal and resurrection, and see Christ can. Amen.